Have you ever felt stuck, afraid to take that next big step in your life? Maybe you're dreaming of a new career, longing to start a relationship, or wanting to make a big change, but something holds you back. Well, today we're going to explore a powerful idea that could change everything for you. It comes from Louise Hay, a woman who has helped millions of people transform their lives. She said, "Be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose." These words might seem simple, but they hold the key to unlocking a life of freedom and joy. Let's dive in and discover how this wisdom can revolutionize your world. Before we unpack this life-changing advice, let's talk about the amazing person who shared it with us. Louise Hay wasn't always a spiritual teacher and self-help guru. In fact, her early life was filled with challenges that would have broken many people. Born in 1926, Louise faced abuse as a child and dropped out of high school. She became a single mother in her 20s and was later diagnosed with cancer. But instead of letting these hardships define her, Louise used them as stepping stones to a greater purpose. Louise discovered the power of positive thinking and the connection between our thoughts and our health. She began to study different spiritual and healing methods, blending them with her own insights. In 1976, at the age of 50, she started her own company, Hay House, which became one of the biggest publishers of self-help books in the world. Louise wrote many books herself, including the bestseller, You Can Heal Your Life, which has sold over 50 million copies worldwide. What made Louise special wasn't just her success, but her ability to speak to people's hearts. She had a gift for taking complex spiritual ideas and making them easy to understand and apply. Louise believed that everyone had the power to change their lives by changing their thoughts. She taught people to love themselves, to forgive, and to see the good in every situation. Her work has touched millions of lives, helping people overcome everything from health issues to relationship problems to career challenges. Louise Hay passed away in 2017 at the age of 90, but her wisdom continues to inspire people around the world. She left behind a legacy of love, healing, and empowerment. When we explore her words, "Be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose," we're tapping into a lifetime of wisdom and experience. Louise didn't just teach these ideas, she lived them. She faced her fears, trusted her inner voice, and created a life of purpose and joy. Now let's see how we can do the same. Now that we know a bit about Louise Hay, let's dive into the first part of her powerful advice. Be silent. In our noisy world, silence might seem like a strange place to start. We're always surrounded by sounds. The buzz of our phones, the chatter of the TV, the constant stream of thoughts in our heads. But Louise knew something that many of us forget. True power comes from quieting all that noise and listening to the wisdom within us. When Louise talks about being silent, she's not just talking about not speaking. She's inviting us to create a quiet space in our minds and hearts. It's about turning down the volume on our worries, our doubts, and all the voices telling us what we should or shouldn't do. In this silence, we can hear our own inner voice, the part of us that knows what we truly want and need. Think about it like this. Imagine you're in a crowded room where everyone is talking at once. It's hard to hear yourself think, right? Now imagine everyone suddenly goes quiet. In that silence, you can hear your own thoughts clearly. That's what Louise is talking about. When we quiet the noise around us and inside us, we can tap into a deeper wisdom. But how do we find this silence in our busy lives? It doesn't mean we have to go live in a cave or spend hours meditating, although a little meditation can certainly help. We can start small. Maybe it's taking a few deep breaths before making a decision, or spending 5 minutes each morning just sitting quietly before starting our day, or turning off our phones for an hour and going for a walk in nature. The key is to create pockets of quiet in our day where we can check in with ourselves. In this silence, amazing things can happen. We might suddenly get a brilliant idea for solving a problem we've been struggling with. We might realize that something we've been worrying about isn't actually that important. Or we might feel a sense of peace and clarity that we've been missing. Louise believed that in this silence, we connect with something greater than ourselves. Some people call it God, others call it the universe, and some simply call it their higher self. Whatever name you give it, it's a source of wisdom and guidance that's always available to us when we quiet down enough to listen. Being silent also helps us become more aware of our thoughts. Louise taught that our thoughts create our reality. When we're always busy and noisy, we might not notice the negative thoughts that are holding us back. But in silence, we can observe our thoughts without judgment. We can see the stories we're telling ourselves and decide if they're really true or helpful. For example, let's say you're thinking about starting a new business. In the noise of everyday life, you might be constantly telling yourself, "I'm not smart enough," or "it's too risky." But when you sit in silence, you might realize these are just fears, not facts. You might hear a quieter voice saying, "You have great ideas," or "You can learn what you need to know." Silence also allows us to feel our emotions more deeply. In our busy lives, we often push our feelings aside. But Louise knew that acknowledging and feeling our emotions is an important part of healing and growth. In silence, we can sit with our feelings, even the uncomfortable ones, and learn from them. Remember, finding silence doesn't mean you have to be perfect at it. Your mind might wander, and that's okay. The practice is in gently bringing your attention back to the quiet. Over time, you'll find it easier to access this peaceful state, even in the middle of a busy day. So, the next time you're facing a big decision or feeling overwhelmed, try taking Louise's advice. Be silent. Create a little space of quiet in your day. You might be surprised at the wisdom and clarity you find there. It's the first step to living as if you have nothing to lose. Now that we've explored the power of silence, let's dive into the second part of Louise Hay's wisdom. Act as if you have nothing to lose. These words are like a key that can unlock a whole new way of living. But what does it really mean to act like you have nothing to lose? Think about the times when fear has held you back. Maybe you didn't apply for that dream job because you were afraid of rejection, or you didn't tell someone how you felt because you were scared of getting hurt. We often act as if we have everything to lose: our comfort, our safety, our pride. But Louise challenges us to flip this idea on its head. When you act as if you have nothing to lose, you're not being reckless. Instead, you're choosing to focus on what you can gain rather than what you might lose. It's about trusting that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. You're resilient, you're capable, and you can handle whatever comes your way. This mindset is incredibly freeing. When you're not weighed down by the fear of loss, you can take bold steps towards your dreams. You can speak your truth, try new things, and put yourself out there in ways you never have before. It's like taking off a heavy backpack you didn't even realize you were carrying. Louise believed that most of our fears are just thoughts. they're not real. When we act as if we have nothing to lose, we're choosing not to give power to those fearful thoughts. Instead, we're trusting in our ability to handle whatever life throws at us. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall down over and over, but they keep getting back up. They're not worried about looking silly or failing. They just keep trying because they have a deep, instinctive trust that they can do it. That's the kind of trust Louise is inviting us to rediscover in ourselves. Acting as if you have nothing to lose doesn't mean you don't care about the outcome. It means you care more about living fully than about avoiding failure or discomfort. It's about valuing growth and experience over safety and comfort. When you embrace this mindset, you might find yourself doing things you never thought possible. You might start that business you've been dreaming of, or have that difficult conversation you've been putting off. You might travel to new places, learn new skills, or express yourself in ways you've always wanted to, but were too afraid to try. Remember, acting as if you have nothing to lose is a choice you can make in any moment. It's not about being fearless. It's about choosing to act despite your fears. It's about recognizing that the richest life comes from embracing uncertainty and being willing to take risks. Now that we've explored both parts of Louise Hay's powerful advice, let's see how they work together. Be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose isn't just two separate ideas. It's a formula for living a bold, authentic life. The silence comes first for a reason. When we quiet our minds and listen to our inner wisdom, we gain clarity about what we truly want and what's really important to us. This clarity gives us the courage to act boldly, as if we have nothing to lose. Think of it like this: silence is the foundation, and fearless action is what we build on that foundation. In the quiet, we connect with our true selves and our deepest desires. We tap into a well of inner strength and wisdom. Then, from this place of connection and clarity, we can take bold steps in our lives. For example, let's say you're considering a career change. In silence, you might realize that your current job isn't fulfilling you, and you have a passion for teaching. This clarity gives you the courage to act as if you have nothing to lose, perhaps by enrolling in a teaching course or applying for a position at a school, even if it means a pay cut or starting over in a new field. The silence also helps us distinguish between our true desires and the expectations of others. Often, our fears come from worrying about what other people will think. But when we're silent and tune into our own wisdom, we can hear our own voice more clearly. This makes it easier to act boldly because we're acting from a place of authenticity rather than trying to please others. Another way silence and fearless action work together is by helping us stay centered in the face of challenges. When we practice being silent, we develop the ability to find calm even in stressful situations. This inner calm gives us the strength to keep acting boldly, even when things get tough. Louise Hay's advice also reminds us that life is a balance of reflection and action. We need both. Too much silence without action can lead to overthinking and missed opportunities. But action without reflection can lead us to make hasty decisions that aren't in line with our true selves. By combining silence and fearless action, we create a powerful approach to life that is both thoughtful and dynamic. This combination can lead to a kind of positive spiral in our lives. When we're silent, we gain clarity. This clarity leads to bold action. The results of this action then give us more to reflect on in our quiet times. leading to even greater clarity and even bolder actions. It's a cycle of growth and empowerment. Remember, this doesn't mean every action will lead to success as we typically define it. But when we act from a place of inner clarity and as if we have nothing to lose, even our failures become valuable experiences that help us grow and learn. By embracing both silence and fearless action, we open ourselves up to living life fully. We become more authentic, more courageous, and more alive. We stop letting fear dictate our choices and start creating the life we truly want to live. While Louise Hay's advice to be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose is powerful, putting it into practice isn't always easy. Let's talk about some common obstacles you might face and how to overcome them. One of the biggest challenges in being silent is our busy minds. In today's world, we're used to constant stimulation. When we try to be quiet, our thoughts might race, or we might feel anxious or bored. This is normal. The key is to be patient with yourself. Start with short periods of silence, even just a minute or two, and gradually increase the time. Remember, it's not about having no thoughts, but about observing your thoughts without getting caught up in them. Another obstacle to silence is our busy schedules. We might feel like we don't have time to be quiet, but silence doesn't always require a lot of time. You can practice it while waiting in line, during your commute, or even in the shower. Look for small pockets of time in your day where you can turn inward and be silent. When it comes to acting as if we have nothing to lose, fear is often the biggest obstacle. We might be afraid of failure, rejection, or change. Remember, having fear is normal. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to act despite it. Start with small steps. Each time you take action despite your fear, you build confidence and courage for bigger actions. Another common obstacle is the habit of negative self-talk. We might have a voice in our head telling us we're not good enough or that we can't do it. This is where the practice of silence can really help. In quiet moments, we can start to notice these negative thoughts and challenge them. Replace them with positive affirmations, something Louise Hay was famous for. Instead of, "I can't do this," try saying, "I am capable of handling whatever comes my way." Sometimes our environment can be an obstacle. We might be surrounded by negative people who discourage us from taking risks or trying new things. In this case, it's important to create boundaries. Seek out supportive people who encourage you to grow. And remember, you don't need anyone's permission to live boldly. Past experiences can also hold us back. If we've tried and failed before, we might be hesitant to try again. But Louise Hay taught that every experience, even the painful ones, can be a stepping stone to growth. Use your quiet time to reflect on past experiences, not as failures, but as valuable lessons. Perfectionism is another obstacle that can keep us from acting boldly. We might wait for the perfect moment or until we feel completely ready. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect moment. Start where you are, with what you have. Remember, acting as if you have nothing to lose doesn't mean you have to do everything perfectly. It means being willing to try and learn as you go. Sometimes we might face physical obstacles like tiredness or illness. These are real challenges, and it's important to be kind to yourself. On days when you don't have the energy for bold action, focus on the be silent part of Louise's advice. Use this time for gentle self-care and reflection. Lastly, a big obstacle can be the fear of success. This might sound strange, But sometimes we hold ourselves back because we're afraid of what might happen if we actually achieve our dreams. Success might mean change, responsibility, or attention, things that can feel scary. In your quiet moments, explore these fears. Remember, you have the strength to handle success just as you have the strength to handle challenges. The key to overcoming all these obstacles is persistence and self-compassion. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. And remember, every time you choose silence or take a bold action, you're growing stronger and more resilient. Louise Hay faced many obstacles in her own life, but she didn't let them define her. She used them as opportunities for growth and learning. We can do the same. By consistently practicing silence and choosing to act boldly, we can overcome these obstacles and create the life we truly want to live. Now that we've explored Louise Hay's powerful advice and how to overcome common obstacles, let's dive into the amazing benefits you can experience when you put this wisdom into practice. When you combine the power of silence with fearless action, you open the door to a whole new way of living. One of the biggest benefits is increased self-awareness. When you make time for silence, you get to know yourself on a deeper level. You start to understand your true desires, your fears, and your motivations. This self-awareness is like a superpower. It helps you make better decisions and live more authentically. Another benefit is reduced stress and anxiety. In our busy world, stress has become a constant companion for many of us. But when you practice being silent, you create a peaceful oasis in your day. This can help lower your stress levels and calm your anxious thoughts. And when you act as if you have nothing to lose, you stop wasting energy worrying about what might go wrong. Instead, you focus on the present moment and what you can do right now. Improved relationships are another wonderful benefit of this practice. When you're more self-aware and less stressed, you bring your best self to your interactions with others. The silence helps you listen better, while fearless action allows you to communicate more honestly. You might find your relationships becoming deeper and more meaningful. Creativity is another area that flourishes when you apply Louise's wisdom. In the silence, you give your mind space to come up with new ideas. And when you act boldly, you're more willing to express your creativity without fear of judgment. This combination can lead to breakthroughs in your work, your hobbies, or any creative pursuits you have. You might also notice improvements in your physical health. Stress is known to have negative effects on our bodies, so by reducing stress through silence, you're doing your health a favor. And when you act boldly, you might find yourself making healthier choices, like finally starting that exercise routine you've been putting off, or speaking up at the doctor's office about a health concern. Another significant benefit is a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment. When you quiet your mind and listen to your inner wisdom, you connect with what truly matters to you. And when you act on this wisdom without fear, you start living in alignment with your values and dreams. This can bring a deep sense of satisfaction and meaning to your life. Resilience is another gift that comes from practicing Louise's advice. Life will always have its ups and downs, but when you cultivate inner silence and learn to act boldly, you become better equipped to handle whatever comes your way. You develop an inner strength that helps you bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward. Finally, you might experience a newfound sense of freedom. When you're not constantly worried about what you might lose, you're free to explore, to try new things, to be yourself fully. This freedom can be truly liberating, allowing you to live life on your own terms. Remember, these benefits don't usually appear overnight. They grow gradually as you consistently practice being silent and acting boldly. But over time, you might be amazed at how much your life can transform. Now that we've explored the many benefits of Louise Hay's wisdom, you might be eager to start putting it into practice. Here's a simple exercise to help you begin incorporating both silence and fearless action into your daily life. We'll call this exercise the Silent Power Minute. It's designed to be quick and easy, so you can do it anytime, anywhere. Here's how it works. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for a minute. This could be in your car before you start driving, in a quiet corner of your office, or even in the bathroom if that's the only place you can get some privacy. Set a timer for 1 minute. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. As you exhale, imagine releasing all the tension and noise from your day. For the next minute, simply focus on your breath. If thoughts come up, that's okay. Just gently bring your attention back to your breathing. As the minute comes to an end, ask yourself this question. If I had nothing to lose, what would I do today? Don't overthink it. Just let the first answer that comes to mind be your guide. When your timer goes off, open your eyes. Take a moment to acknowledge the answer that came to you. Now here's the important part. Choose one small action you can take based on that answer, and do it today. It doesn't have to be anything big. If your answer was, I'd ask for a raise, your action might be to schedule a meeting with your boss. If your answer was, I'd start painting again, your action might be to sketch for 5 minutes or buy a set of paints. The power of this exercise is in its simplicity and immediacy. You're practicing both silence during your minute of quiet and fearless action by doing something based on your insight. By doing this regularly, even just once a day, you start to build the habit of tuning into your inner wisdom and acting on it boldly. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. Some days, your minute of silence might feel restless. Some days, the action you take might feel small. That's all okay. What matters is that you're practicing consistently, building your muscles of inner quiet and courageous action. As you get comfortable with this exercise, you might want to extend your silent time to 5 minutes or challenge yourself to take bigger actions. But start small and be patient with yourself. Every time you practice, you're taking a step towards living more fully and freely. To really bring home the power of Louise Hay's wisdom, let me share a personal story about how be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose can transform a life. Meet Sarah, a friend of mine who was stuck in a job she hated. Every day she'd drag herself to work, feeling drained and unfulfilled. She knew she wanted something different, but fear kept her from making a change. What if she couldn't find another job? What if she failed? One day, Sarah came across Louise Hay's teachings. Intrigued, she decided to give the Silent Power Minute exercise a try. At first, it felt awkward. Her mind would race with worries about work, bills, and all the reasons she couldn't change her life. But she kept at it, taking just 1 minute each day to be silent, and then asking herself, if I had nothing to lose, what would I do? After a few weeks of this practice, something shifted. In one of her silent moments, Sarah realized that what she really wanted was to start her own business as a life coach. It was a dream she'd had for years, but had always dismissed as impractical. This time, instead of letting fear take over, Sarah decided to act as if she had nothing to lose. She didn't quit her job right away, but she did take a small step. She signed up for a weekend life coaching course. That one action led to another and another. Sarah started practicing her coaching skills with friends. She set up a simple website. She networked with other coaches. All the while, she kept up her daily practice of silence and fearless action. It wasn't always easy. There were days when doubt crept in, when the fear of failure felt overwhelming. But in those moments, Sarah would return to her minute of silence, reconnecting with her inner wisdom and courage. A year later, Sarah had built up enough of a client base to take the leap and quit her job. Today, she runs a successful life coaching business. She loves her work and feels like she's making a real difference in people's lives. What's remarkable isn't just that Sarah changed her career, it's how she changed as a person. She's more confident, more at peace with herself. She's not fearless. She still feels scared sometimes, but she doesn't let fear stop her anymore. She's living proof that when we combine inner silence with bold action, amazing things can happen. Sarah's story isn't unique. Many people have transformed their lives using Louise Hay's wisdom. The key is to start small, be consistent, and trust the process. You might be surprised at where it leads you. As we come to the end of our exploration of Louise Hay's powerful advice, be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned and consider how we can move forward. We started by understanding the power of silence, how creating quiet spaces in our day allows us to tap into our inner wisdom and clarity. We then explored what it means to act as if we have nothing to lose, freeing ourselves from the paralysis of fear and stepping boldly towards our dreams. We saw how these two ideas work together, creating a powerful approach to life that balances reflection and action. We discussed common obstacles you might face and how to overcome them, and we explored the many benefits that can come from applying this wisdom in your life. Remember, this isn't about completely transforming your life overnight. It's about making small, consistent changes that add up to big results over time. It's about developing a new relationship with yourself and with life, one based on trust, courage, and authenticity. So what's next? Here's my challenge to you. Commit to trying the Silent Power Minute exercise every day for the next week. Just 1 minute of silence, followed by one small, bold action. That's all. See what changes you notice in yourself and in your life. As you do this, be kind to yourself. Some days will feel easier than others, and that's okay. The power is in the practice, not in doing it perfectly. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. Louise Hay's wisdom has helped millions of people around the world, and now you're part of that community. Consider sharing your experiences with friends or family, or even in the comments below this video. Your story might inspire someone else to take their own steps towards a more fulfilling life. Louise Hay's advice to be silent and act as if you have nothing to lose is more than just a catchy phrase. It's a powerful formula for living a life of authenticity, courage, and joy. By creating space for silence in our busy lives, we allow ourselves to connect with our inner wisdom. And by acting as if we have nothing to lose, we free ourselves from the constraints of fear and self-doubt. This approach to life isn't always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding. It allows us to live more fully, to pursue our dreams with courage, and to face life's challenges with resilience and grace. Whether you're looking to make a big change in your life or simply want to live with more peace and purpose, Louise Hay's wisdom offers a practical and powerful path forward. Remember, every journey begins with a single step. Your step might be as simple as taking a minute of silence today or doing one small thing you've been afraid to do. Whatever it is, know that you have the strength and wisdom within you to create the life you truly want. So why not start now? Take a deep breath, find your moment of silence, and then take that bold step forward. You have nothing to lose and a whole world of possibility to gain. Here's to your journey of silence, courage, and transformation.